Survey. It says the UK, it says brace, but many people would say celebrate, what could prove to be the largest solar storm in over 2 decades. We're talking about Northern Lights here. It's upgraded its geomagnetic forecast for its highest intensity level amid this ongoing solar storm.
Hey guys, this morning, earlier, we had an interesting thing happen up in space. The sun released a solar flare, but this was a big one, and the sun has been active over the last week. It's been putting out quite a few of these, but what we're hearing from the Space Weather Prediction Center, is that now we have a G4 storm watch, which on a scale of 1 to 5, G4 is high. We don't see these too often. So what does that mean for us? Well, a couple of things here on Earth. These are notoriously hard to predict, but this energy does come towards Earth.
Lights, you probably noticed that. Of course, we were talking about in our news. You can see some of those great pictures there on the right side of your screen, and you'll have another chance to see them tonight. I'm excited about it. KMBC9's Darissa White spoke with an expert about the best times for viewing.
Well, many people across the metro reported seeing the Northern Lights, similar to these here at Union Station's planetarium, and you might be able to see them again today. The Northern Lights made a special appearance over the metro last night. KMBC viewers from both sides of the state line shared photos of beautiful waves and streaks of green, pink, and purple light. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the storm stems from a powerful coronal mass ejection, as Patrick Hess from Union Station's planetarium calls it, bursts of energy from the sun that expanded the Earth's auroral oval further south than usual.
All that energy from the sun hits the Earth's magnetosphere. The Earth is kind of like a big magnet, and that protects us because otherwise it would be a less fun time with the Northern Lights if we didn't have that protection. But basically what happens is our magnetic field gets really excited by all that energy, and it glows in these really cool colors. And if we're really lucky, it can happen this far south, but usually it's a lot farther north where the atmosphere and the magnetosphere is thinner.
Now, Patrick says we might see them again before the sun sets. It might be hard, but never impossible.
This is a picture that we just had sent in to us via the QR code that you see on your screen. Thanks a lot, Tina Peterson. That's Urbandale, Iowa. Goodness, that is something else, isn't it? Wow. You got the pinks, you've got the reds, you got the purples, you got some greens in there too. Here's another one, Anaconda, Montana. I like it. Cameron Bright. Oh yeah, Cameron Bright is the name. That was from Montana. My bad on that. Trenton, Texas. How about that? Yeah, so you can see on some of these pictures, there's like a slight edit here or there. You know, a lot of people will try some of the long exposures. Sometimes it's not perfectly visible with the naked eye. But I think in this case, you know, it is actually visible with the naked eye in a lot of cases. So if you're just joining us, if you've been a hermit all day or all night and you haven't been outside yet, we got a big aurora event that's going on right now. And remember, the forecasting with this stuff is not always perfect. It really became apparent like an hour or two ago that this was going to be a really big deal, you know, at some point here on Tuesday evening. Here's another nice shot here. Luciana Castro. This is in Richland Center, Wisconsin.
Amid this ongoing solar storm that's prompted aurora displays that entertain stargazers across the UK overnight, we're expecting that it's going to be a lot more visible tonight following sightings in the northeast last night. It's going to be visible overnight into Thursday morning. It could be visible across the south as well as across the north, but there is going to be quite strong cloud coverage which might affect visibility. The Met Office is saying that this is going to be an event of a similar magnitude to that one back in May 2024. That was the one where most people tried to get outside to see if they could see it in their gardens, and it brought auroras across much of England and Wales. It's going to be like that tonight again, apparently. So good news if you want to go out and try and see the Northern Lights. Possibly you're going to be hampered by the bad weather, though, in the south if you're in that area, but should be visible across the north.
And it can mess up some of the high-frequency communication devices, although that's fairly rare these days. But what also can happen is that we can see the Northern Lights at a pretty far south latitude, meaning some of the southern parts of the country could actually see it, which is, you know, we don't see that very often. We've had a couple instances, though, in the last couple years. Really, it's with your camera, your phone camera, if you take it out. And I think this is probably going to be tomorrow morning, by the way. That would be our best opportunity to see it. But you may be able to see a little bit of color in the sky from this because it's just so strong. I certainly think the northern half of the country is for sure going to see something tonight going into tomorrow morning. But just something to keep in mind. We're certainly going to watch it. Pretty interesting what's unfolding there on the sun. It has been an active month for the sun in that sense.
Amy, thank you. We're calling this the Tuesday night treat. Take a look. Apparently the northern lights are really active way far south than they were forecast for tonight's geomagnetic storm. Here's a very reliable source over in Lake Havasu. Jillian runs the River Scene magazine over there. She said she sent this to Royal, and Royal quickly called me and said, Scene, look at this. I mean, we've used Jillian's photos before. She took this off a smartphone, kind of the night mode, so it's a real long exposure. You probably can't see these with the naked eye, but your smartphone can pick it up depending on your settings. Here's Mandy's view up in Flagstaff. Mandy has put plenty of pictures for many, many months now on our First Alert Facebook page. So we're getting a lot of reports generally in northern Arizona where you can see these northern lights. But I got a picture that I'll show you in a little bit from New River. So if you can get away from city lights, if you are a photographer nut, you could probably possibly see the northern lights. And again, they were not forecast to be this far south tonight.
Have you been able to see anything in your neck of the woods or no?
Just about. You actually just tore me away from it. So it's been very quiet here, and I've been seeing all the pictures online from the US, and I've been extremely jealous. But God. Literally just about 15 minutes before you called me on here, I could starting to see the reds and the greens in my own eyes. So wow. It's probably good that you did keep me up, because otherwise I might have gone to bed and given up.
I mean, I think one of the things that's been so interesting about this particular event is a lot of people are reporting that, they'll go outside and they can barely see anything, and then literally just a couple minutes later, it's just totally spectacular. So you were talking about how there were multiple coronal mass ejections, which are what? They are basically explosions that happen on the sun that come out of the sunspots. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we have these sunspots, which are really complex regions on the sun, and they like to release energy in the form of these eruptions. So these are bubbles of gas and magnetic field, and they hurtle towards us at several million miles an hour. And it's when they impact the Earth and interact with the Earth's own magnetic field and the atmosphere that we get these beautiful displays.
So one term that I've seen that's been going around a little bit online tonight is a cannibal CME, and let me know. And I want to say thank you to Sam Thomas, who made this little graphic for me. I said, I just need an Earth and a sun that I can draw on during this interview here tonight, because we don't have like pre-prepared graphics for this stuff. But as I understand it, so let's say, you have one coronal mass ejection that comes out, and then there's another one after that, but the second one is a little faster, and then it basically like joins forces with the first one and becomes a big one. Is that the cannibal CME?
Pretty much. You get a pancake effect, so they all start to pile up behind one of I can't speak, sorry, it's like 2 a.m. here. But they all pile up behind each other, and so you get this compound effect. So while the display is good now, we're hoping that when the second and the third arrive, you'll see even more. Well, I don't even know whether it's possible to see some more spectacular displays than we're seeing at the moment.
Well, I thought everybody was saying that, like, it appeared that this, like, maybe the latter CME that happened was going to be the bigger one, and this is like the first one. And from what I had heard, and again, I'm totally not an expert with this, but I thought that tomorrow night was going to be like the big night. Is there still a chance that tomorrow night could be an even bigger night than tonight?
Yes, so that's what we're forecasting. But as you said before, these things aren't perfect, so you have to bear with us. But because we're going to have multiple eruptions arrive, and the other ones are going to look more extreme than this one, then it's looking good, let's just say. So I think the third one is predicted to arrive sometime in the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going here off of this solar storm forecast, and yeah, you can see the forecast here was for something to happen tonight. That's probably what we're in right now. And then actually the forecast for tomorrow night, and again, keeping in mind, like you said, the forecasting with this is not always perfect. It's kind of like forecasting tsunamis. We're still in the infancy of, overall with making perfect forecasts for this, but it is forecast to be higher. So one thing I also wanted to ask you about is all these numbers, and gosh, look at all these pictures that are coming in. Thank you guys so much. The QR code on your screen, anybody watching, keep sending us pictures. This is phenomenal. Don't even think about AI either. We have Anti-AI filters. We can figure it out immediately as soon as they come in. So the numbers. So we've got the G scale, right? It goes from G1 to G5, G5 being the most extreme. I also see this number here pretty frequently, sorry, I meant to go back here, the KP index. So as I understand it, like a G4 storm would be usually like a KP index around 7. Like what do those numbers all exactly mean?
Yeah, so they're different indexes or parameters that we use to try and categorise the storms. I guess we do this with hurricanes, right? So at the moment we've hit a G4. So this is a severe geomagnetic storm. That's what that means. And so, as you said, the scale goes up to 5. So we've reached G4, a severe storm. We could reach G5, which is extreme. And this is what we saw, say, during the May 2024. And the KP index is quite similar. It's just different numbers. We're talking about the disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field caused by these eruptions arriving. So the maximum for that is a KP 9.
Okay, so you've got the KP index. That's like the intensity of the coronal mass ejection that's coming out, or some derivative of that. And I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, I feel like sometimes we have a high KP number or a high G number, and it doesn't always translate perfectly to like great aurora viewing. Is there something to do with like the angle of attack? Does it have to be at just the right angle? Let's talk about like the angle of attack versus the KP index.
I think it's really difficult. So, for example, earlier tonight, I couldn't see anything, and it could be due to many factors. It could be due to where the auroral oval is sitting. It might be pushed further south. It might just be due to light pollution. There are so many variables in this, and like you were saying earlier, you can sometimes see patches of the aurora in activity, or the whole sky can be green. So it really does change quite dynamically on small timescales and spatial scales, and so it's, again, that makes it really difficult to predict.